big round of applause as His Excellency the President joins us.
Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge His Royal Majesty Ni Takite Kochuru II and to thank him for lending this event with his gracious presence. Yesterday I was together with him at the sports stadium watching a titanic match between House of Oak and Olidade. For those of you who didn't hear about it, it was a 1-1 draw. And so everybody was victorious. I want to recognize also our clergymen who are here in their numbers. I want to thank you for lending your presence. I want to thank all our traditional authorities who have had the opportunity to join us. But most of all, to thank our chairman for gracing this occasion with his presence. He represents the chieftaincy institution, and his words have very profound effects that the chiefs are going to be an integral part of this program in order that it makes it a success. Every society has values, and in all societies, one most important value is the value of cleanliness. If you take any religious denomination, whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, or you belong to African traditional religion, all of them say and respect the slogan that cleanliness is next to godliness. You cannot be a godly person if you live in filth. You cannot be a godly person if you're not clean. And so whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, or you believe in Pelikpeji or whatever, they all believe that cleanliness is next to godliness. And that has been part of our traditional value systems. I know that when I was growing up, anytime I vacated from school and my father made me go back to stay with my mother in Damango at the time, early in the morning, my mother, my aunties, my sisters, and we the children will be waking up at 5 a.m. and all of us will be given brooms. We will sweep the whole compound. We'll go outside the house and sweep around the whole house and gather every litter. That was a part of African traditional practice. Unfortunately, today, that value system has broken down. You have people living in a family house, in a compound house. Nobody is prepared to join to make sure that the house is kept clean. Modernization does not mean that we should abandon our value systems. Just recently, I came from two very modern societies, Japan and Singapore. They are well developed, they are into AI, they are into space technology and everything, but their value systems in terms of their culture and traditions are still intact. You go to Japan and Singapore, you won't see one single piece of paper or plastic anywhere on the ground. Indeed, Singapore is West. You're not allowed to chew gum in Singapore. So they don't sell chewing gum in Singapore. And if you are found chewing gum, the punishment is 10 hot lashes. It's true, they have corporal punishment in their law. And so if you litter or you throw plastic somewhere, I don't know how many lashes it is, but it's more than the chewing gum lashes. And so every citizen in those two countries believes in their cultural values and in cleanliness. There was one day when I was still quite young, I had started my first job with Japan Embassy. We went on internship. We were 16 of us from 16 different countries. And one of the times we had gone on a field trip, we were walking back to the hotel where we stayed. And there was somebody walking ahead of us. And as he was walking, he saw a piece of wrapper. I think somebody had eaten chocolate and dropped the wrapper on the street. He didn't drop it. I mean, he was just walking and he saw it. And I noticed that he got there, he bent down, he picked the wrapper and held it and continued walking until he got to the next litter bin. And then he dropped it in. I mean, in Ghana, how many people would do that? That you find something lying and there's a litter bin 50 meters ahead. But they value their cleanliness. And so everybody is a part of it. But the beautiful thing is, they are trained from when they are children to believe in that value. And so when they grow, they don't depart from it. And so aside from organizing National Sanitation Days, we must inculcate in our children the spirit and awareness of cleanliness. I remember when I was young, we had a course in basic school called Civics. For those of you who are my age, you will remember. The younger ones, I'm sure they don't know anything about it. But it was called Civics. And for 1 hour every week, we were taught the values and courtesies and how to be a responsible citizen. And one of the course materials was what was mentioned, Courtesy for Boys and Girls. It was a very little book, and it showed you how to carry yourself as a responsible citizen. It even showed how you should use cutlery. And that when you're sitting and eating with other people, don't belch. I mean, all those things we were taught when we were young. And so when I go for lunch with people, I don't belch. And they even taught us that while you're chewing, don't open your mouth and be chewing shrap. And so when I go for lunch with people, I don't chew shrap like that. And so we must, the saying goes, it says, teach the child the way they should go, and when they grow, they shall not depart from it. And so we're in discussion with the Ministry of Education to see how we can create, as part of the curriculum, a separate curriculum on courtesy and responsible citizenship, so that we can train our children from basic school through secondary school. And I believe that if we train them properly, when they grow, they will not depart from it. We all know the people we used to call tangas or sama. Oh, I thought those were children there. Oh, hygiene, environmental officers. Okay, I'm coming to you. Now they call them environmental officers, or is it hygiene officers? But let me tell you, those who are called tangas were more feared than you. You become abrofo officers. Oh, you shouldn't keep your place dirty. Yeah, why do you have paper here? There's summer when they were coming, my mother and everybody will be running around and picking up anything, disposing of water that can breed malaria, larvae, and all that. Because if they come and see one thing that is out of sync, summer straight, they'll summon you to court. And when you go to court, they'll fine you. And so we need aside from public awareness, to also create a deterrence so that people know that, yes, while we expect you to live by these values, if you go against those values, there's a certain sanction that you must bear. And that is why between the district assemblies, the environmental officers, and I'll come to our traditional authorities, we have to create a system where people are sanctioned for breaking the sanitation bylaws. People take rubbish and go and dump it anywhere. And that is the more difficult to take. For instance, one day we were driving during the campaign and one of our vehicles busted a tire. And so we stopped, the whole convoy stopped to repair the tire. And so I was standing by the roadside. And all along the roadside, the highway, were bottles, plastic, takeaway bowls, I mean, just name it. And that one, who is going to go on the highway to go and pick those things? At least in the communities, if you dump it here, we can do national sanitation there and clean it up. But what of on the Accra-Bolga road? When are we going to get people to go all along the road to Bolga and pick things up? And so dumping out of vehicles is even more dangerous because they are not putting it where we can go and collect it. But these are all things that we should draw attention to. Now I come to the role of chiefs. Our chiefs were the leaders when it comes to voluntarism and communal labor and cleanliness. Unfortunately, with independence, new constitutions and all that, the authority of the chiefs has been eroded in terms of the power that they can exercise within their traditional areas. I am in favor of restoring some of the authority back to chiefs, especially in respect of our environment and sanitation. We have a national constitutional review process ongoing. And in that process, some amendments will be done to the Constitution. Issues dealing with chieftaincy are in Chapter 22 of the 1992 Constitution. And I think that the National House of Chiefs and all the Regional House of Chiefs must look at that chapter properly so that we can bring amendments that will reinstate some of the powers of the chiefs. I believe that in every community there's a chief. And so if in every community there's a chief, we can put a sanitation court in the palace of the chief. So that working together with the district assembly, people who are persistent polluters will be brought to those sanitation courts and will be given the sanctions that they deserve so that we can have cleaner communities, cleaner cities, and cleaner towns. But they won't abdicate the responsibility of the district administrations in terms of sanitation. When my government came, we had a situation where more than 50% of the district assembly's common fund was being spent here in Accra at the district assembly common fund administrator's office. And so sufficient money was not going to the districts to be able to carry out their obligations. Now, MMDCs, you have no excuse. I directed that 80% of money due to the District Assembly's Common Fund must go directly to the MMDCs. And so you can't tell me you have an excuse of lack of resources. You have the resources, and if you remember when we were inaugurating you, I told the local government minister to tell you that one of your key performance indicators is the cleanliness of your district. It is your #1 KPI. And so when we come to assess and evaluate your performance, we're going to look at how you handle sanitation as one of the key performance indicators. And sanitation is actually a function of decentralization, because central government, including the local government minister, cannot ensure that every district is clean. And yet we have demarcations of district boundaries. And I want you MMDCs to know that everything that happens within that your district boundary is your responsibility. And that is why we've decentralized the authority to you, and we've also decentralized the resources to go along with it. And so recently when I saw a regional minister, and she did very well, Linda, going to a Ramsar site to go and demolish buildings and stop people from building, the question I ask myself is, isn't there a district assembly in that area? It should have been the DCE, his planning officer, and all of them who should be there, because you live with the people in the district. And the filling of the Ramsar site was not a one-day event. You could see that it had been going on and on. And the worst case is that some of the people had building permits to do what they were doing. I mean, a DCE like that should be sacked immediately. But I know it didn't start with the DCE there. It had started in the previous government. But I'm drawing your attention to it so that tomorrow when you get a sack letter from me, you will know why you received the letter. Recently, there was another case somewhere near Ningo Pram Pram. That one was not even a Ramsar site, a whole lagoon. And permit had been given to somebody to fill part of the lagoon to build, they say, a fence wall. I mean, it's unacceptable. And these are the things I want our MMDCs and regional ministers to open your eyes to. The thing about these lagoons and Ramsar site, you see them and say, oh, I don't know, they serve a useful purpose. It is because we have taken over those wetlands and those Ramsar sites that flooding has become worse in Accra. Because the rains in Accra come from the Kwapim Mountains, and there are a lot of streams coming down and going towards the sea. And before they enter the sea, they enter a wetland, and the wetland accommodates the water and discharges it into the sea. So can you imagine what happens if you fill that wetland and build on it? When the water arrives from the stream, where is it going to go? It will go back into your houses. And so people do little things like this, and we see them doing it, and we walk past. But when the effect comes, and your house gets flooded, then you say, oh, government, come and help us, come and save us, come and help us. But you saw what that person was doing. Sometimes there's a stream passing through your community. Somebody will shift sand, sawdust, and narrow the stream. And his narrowing of the stream is going to affect you because the volume of water that comes, the stream is narrow. It cannot go through that narrow path. So it will back up and enter your houses. And so let all of us be watchdogs of sanitation and the environment. And like I said, I'll hold the DCs responsible for your districts, but it will not only be for sanctions and punishment, it will also be for encouragement. I've asked the minister to put in a system of awards for the cleanest districts. And the cleanest districts will get very handsome awards. And so he's going to put it together and bring a report to cabinet, we'll approve it, and every year we'll make provision for the cleanest district awards. And it's not only the DCEs or the district assembly, the traditional authorities in the districts will also benefit from the award. Today, the spirit of voluntarism is dying. Before we would all come out, the chief will beat the gong gong, everybody comes out, and then we'll clean our whole community, or we'll go and do some public service. Today is very rare to find that. But there's a little group of young people that consistently volunteer their time and energy to help keep our country clean. I encountered them last year because I saw them on social media, and they call themselves the Bus Stop Boys. So I want to commend them. After I finish speaking, there's some other ceremony we'll do to assist them to continue with their spirit of voluntarism. But there should be many more Bus Stop Boys. It shouldn't be only them. There should be others emulating their example. And so we need to recognize them so that everybody can follow the example they are making. Like I said, it's not only about deterring and punishing, it's also about encouraging. And so from next year, and we'll choose the best districts, but we have the 10 kilometers per constituency program, and we're starting with 166 constituencies. And so every year, we'll do 10 kilometers of roads and drains and pavements so that we can improve the general aesthetics of your districts. And so we choose 166 constituencies. Some districts have 2 constituencies, others have 1. And so we choose the 166, but it will also depend on your responsiveness in terms of sanitation and all that. And when we have done that, we expect that it will improve the general environment of your districts. And if it does, our expectation is that you keep the drains clean, you make sure that those streets are clean. What is the use of coming to rehabilitate your roads and build drains and pavements only to come and find them littered with garbage? And so that would also be an incentive for districts to keep themselves clean. As part of the 24-hour economy too, we want to bring regulation so that a lot of the sanitation work and the garbage collection takes place at night. It doesn't make sense when in the morning we have gotten up to go to work and we are in the rush hour traffic, and that's when a baller truck too has gone to collect garbage and is competing with cars on the road. In the night, from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, most people go home and the roads are freer. If you go and collect your baller and you are taking it to Amasama or to wherever, it will be easier for you than during the day when everybody is using the road. And the worst one is the ones who go and pull that liquid thing. I don't want to spoil your appetites. When they come and empty your cesspit, you know, day-to-day time, you are carrying this thing around, and some of them are not very well maintained, so you can see the flies and you can smell the poo-poo following them. You know, we must do regulation to ensure that they do that at night so that they are not a public nuisance. And so, as talking enough, I was giving a written speech, but I've abandoned it because I wanted to speak from my heart. So I'll give the speech to the Minister of Local Government and the Minister of Government Communications, and they can publish it for what it is worth. But I thank you very much, and God richly bless all of you. I have one last duty. I almost forgot. That is to declare the National Sanitation Day program duly launched. And as you've been told, it will be the first Saturday of every month. And so, on behalf of government, on behalf of the people of Ghana, I have the honor and privilege of declaring the National Sanitation Day program duly launched. I'm supposed to press this button. If it works, Thank you very much.
We're grateful to you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we do a